Greetings, hosts, and welcome to Deck Report, Season 5, Week number 5. This is part 2. Uh, if you haven't seen part 1, I kind of updated the Mitsurugi Fiendsmith Ogdoated deck. Feel free to check it out if you're more interested in watching my takes on Mitsurugi. This is going to be my take on Maliss. I did update this list. I did make a few changes. I'm not sure if I like all the changes that I made. However, I do still want to showcase the deck because it is a slightly more different from like what I showed last time, and it kind of goes into the analogy of few stuff that I've already like tried out or tested as a whole, and it kind of cements the idea of stuff people should be looking out for in the future. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. Um, Two mouse, two rabbit, two cat, three March hares. I don't think this ratio will change anytime soon. We're still on Dotscaper. We got two backups now. Three wizard. That's it for cybers. I think there are 15 cybers monsters. We're still on dangers, so 3-3-3. No Bigfoot this time. And now we're on Bystials, so we got three Bystials. I am citing Sironier. And spoiler alert, I'm not gonna show a side deck. Most of the side deck is going to be very similar to what you saw in the Ogdoatic deck, as well as last week's deck report. But the one card I will mention is Sironier. So if you want to play a fourth Bystial, that is the one that I will be doing. I'll explain that later. Three Enchantress and Griffin. I am convinced by this package. More cards from it. Three right. We're still on three Allure. Two Underground. Sark, Mining, Terraforming, consistent cards. Call by Talents, non-engine, non-engine, non-hand traps. Maliss in the Mirror. Spoiler, we are still playing the three trap cards. Draco back, Fateful, 11, 06, and 07. Main deck is still 50 because we're playing the adventure cards. Extra for the ones we got Spider and Lingerivo. For the twos we got Haggard, SP, Splash, IP, Cherubini, Griffin. So for the threes, we got the three Maliss Queens, and we're still on Code Talker. The Heat Soul, and Link Force, and we're still on Code Talker Administer. Alright, explanations? Question mark? So I brought up Sironier being an option in the side deck. It's not here at the moment, but the reason for Bystials is you kind of have to respect the Mitsurugi deck right now. I think Mitsurugi, it's like our biggest contender at the moment that we have to deal with. These cards are just amazing overall. Since we are not playing that many defensive cards in this build, you kind of want more cards that just fit that criteria. You do have to be careful because this does play into the Regenesis cards. If you guys don't know about the Regenesis archetype, They can summon when either player has 25. So if you have 25 monsters and they don't, they can still summon them. Except for the Archfiend. So that's something to mention because that is one of the rogue decks that is popping up a little bit more than usual. It did very well in YCS Providence, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see that deck more popping up soon, like other hybrids or other versions. So it's just one of those honorable things to mention if you're playing these cards. Uh, I will cover that in the underground video, but I think against the mirror match, these cards are not bad at all, especially now since people are cutting more of the Maliss traps. Again, I'll talk more on that when we talk about the next underground episode, so stay tuned for that. If we need to talk about more roguish decks, then White Forest. This deck hits very hard with the Bystials, and that's another really good mention. This doesn't do super well into Memento, but there are a few Memento monsters that do get hit by these cards, like for example the Gaddick, the Anguish, a few monsters like that. So another thing to mention. I just think defensively these cards are pretty alright. You probably notice no enemy controller compared to other builds. I think enemy controller is kind of weak right now. It's not a bad card by any means. It's really good in the mirror match. But with Mitsurugi being like the best deck or like the more represented deck, that card is just not that good into Mitsurugi. It doesn't give you the non-engine trades that you want against your opponent. So I just opted it not to play it for the time being. I've been seeing more and more people like moving out of rotation the Maliss traps. I've seen people on 11 and 7. I've seen people on 11 on 6 and 7 and no 11. I've seen people on only 7, and I'm not going to say that's neither correct or incorrect. The only thing I will say about that is that be wary that there are probably going to be more cards that are going to be more vulnerable. Like our deck will be more vulnerable to certain cards if you keep swapping in and out these ratios. That is another topic I'll talk about in the underground episode. I still like the adventure cards. I think, like, in as far as performance goes, the adventure cards have done very good for me. Last week there was one game I lost, and that game involved Lancia, Nibiru, and Ash Blossom, and they didn't shutdown the Lancia because it's the Maliss Mirror, so they don't want to shut down their own engine. I had the Water Enchantress, and they had Ash Blossom for the Water Enchantress. So, if they didn't have the Ash Blossom for the Water Enchantress, this card would have been good enough to push through what my opponent tried to do, even through Nibiru, plus Lancia. So that's just to show you just how powerful this engine is. Like, this plays well into Moch armies, like I said last video. This is good at making half boards. If you want to play Impulse, you can play Impulse with these cards, but you'll probably have to either A, swap out the Griffin for Illusion Knight, or B, just play it very safe. Like, set your Impulse and then use it alongside your Griffin. That is an option. But yeah, I don't regret playing these cards at all. I think the cards are still very good in the deck. So dangers. Something I quickly realized, and I'll probably talk about that in the episode as well. Like, I don't want to I don't want to make the episode very lengthy on a lot of stuff that I talk about when it comes to this deck. But one thing I've been noticing when it comes to Malice is that there are a lot of games that we keep losing just because of the Mulch armies alongside other disruptions. Like Mulch armies by themselves are not really good against the deck if you know what you're doing. Uh, Nibiru and Lancia are not good by themselves if you know what you're doing. But when you have like a combination of all those cards and your opponent also has an established board or more interruptions, that kind of makes you think of a game plan that you kind of need involving like your deck building requirements in order to just play well into those cards. Um, I think the dangers are here to stay, at least for a little while. I know that a lot of people are a fan of the Cybers cards. I just personally think the Cybers cards are not that good enough. Like they are really good. They make the deck have a very high ceiling. I just feel like because if you do the engine count, we're talking about one wizard, three backups, and some people play I Meet You. That's not that many cards to like use as extenders against your opponent. Also, Malice suffers from the Yummy syndrome or the Sprite syndrome, where if their initial bodies are not on the board, it means you cannot make Linger Evo. And not being able to make Linger Evo is a big deal because the Cybers extenders can only be summoned. The ALIN monsters can only be summoned if you have control a Cybers monster specifically from the extra deck. So, yeah. I just feel a lot of people are just glazing into those extenders and not thinking that we need other extenders to just play the game. And in my testing, that has not been the case. So, yeah, I'm not saying that the dangers are the way to go. I'm not saying that you should be playing on dangers instead of like other non-engine. What I am saying is, in my testing, I have been liking them, and they have been doing very good for me, as opposed to other cards in the deck. So yeah, that's it for Malice. There's not a lot to talk about. Like again, I do want to leave some stuff out for the underground episode because I know that not everybody who watches my deck reports are like the biggest Malice enjoyers that have been tuning into my channel because of Malice content. So I do want to make a Malice focused video talking about my theory and my analogy and the conclusions that I arrived when it comes to this deck because I don't think Malice is completely solved. That's one thing. And the other thing I feel about Malice is that their position in the format is very awkward. It's not because it's not because the cards are not good enough. It's because the Mitsurugi matchup is very shaky, and this deck is being very heavily targeted by most players. But yeah, that's it for me. Enough yapping. I hope you found this informative and to your liking understanding. Keep practicing and keep doing.